Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV for some daily news. It is Thursday. England are out of the World Cup. People are arguing amongst themselves about whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. The nation's divided and water is falling from the sky. Everything has returned to normal in this country. How are you doing? Let's focus on some Liverpool news, some Liverpool rumours and some Liverpool transfer stuff if that's what you're into. If that's what you're into, drop a like on this video right now. We're going to kick it off. It's not really transfer related, but Liverpool have released their third kit for this season via the medium of Pro Evo, which is mad. I think there's someone that makes them the first football club to do that. It looks decent. Everyone knows I'm a massive fan of PES. It's the better football game. Is it the better computer game? No. FIFA's a better computer game, PES is a better football game. I'm sorry if that makes you really upset, but it is true because I play both. Anyway, there you go. It looks really good. It's good to see a bit of Naby in there, and there's some really cool videos of Naby dancing, which I think Graham Kelly put. If that was Pogba, I'd think he was a tit, but it's Naby, so I think it's amazing. I'm paraphrasing, but there you go. Let's get into some of the transfer news then. Paul Joyce, following on from yesterday, we were outside Anfield talking about this. I love Paul Joyce's tweets, by the way, the master of less is more. Liverpool closing in on deal for Fekir. Dropped that little bombshell at 4 minutes past midnight last night, presumably just chilling. Thought I'll just go to bed and I'll just see if I can get myself 8,000 likes by the time I wake up for my shreddies in the morning. And there you go. So yeah, obviously no more concrete stuff on that. We talked about this. If you want to go back, I'm not going to repeat myself. We talked about that, and we actually did the Reds transfer roundup show, which I will point your attention to right now. A special Ben Kelly presented, me and Chris on the sofa. Every Liverpool transfer rumour rated. So we've gone through every player that we've been linked with so far this summer, and we've rated the chances. We also talked through in depth the Shaqiri stuff and what we think that might mean for Liverpool as well. Some ins and outs, players that might not make it the grade for Liverpool, whatever. But talking about the likes of Yerry Mina and Paulo Dybala, everyone Liverpool have been linked with, we rate how likely those transfers are to happen. So go and watch that show on the redmentv.com. Anyway, more stuff and following on from a lot of stuff we discussed. David Maddox, our good mate Dave Maddox of the Mirror, saying widespread reports in Italy on €65 million bid for Alisson. Completely wrong, unfortunately. No bid from LFC, no contact at all with player or club, no plans to bid at this stage either. Was some interest earlier in the window, but cooled and not revived. And just to follow up on that, there's a website called Inside Roma, which I've used Google Translate on. They've got Liverpool surpass Real, 65 million for Alisson. Tuesday afternoon, Monchi Futa, London drove and had dinner with President Pallotta, yada, yada, yada. I love some of the phrasing on this. In conjunction with the meeting, even if not directly linked since the meeting had been scheduled for a few weeks, has emerged a novelty that can be considered resounding. In fact, Liverpool is ready to present in the next few hours an offer for Alisson of 60 million plus 5 bonuses. We are not yet at the 75 million requested by Roma, but the Reds exceed Real Madrid, still at 50 plus 10 of prizes. Just from the grabbing machine. Basically, you basically play until you win a prize. That's what it is. It's loads of just really crap teddies and Parma violets. Sweet. To understand when the proposal becomes official, what will be the response of Monchi. Based the start of negotiation at this point not missing. Surprisingly, it also seems to have convinced Alisson until a few days ago, continues to put the Premier League in second place compared to the Blancos. First of all, because he did not want to go to a league where his countryman Edison plays, a rival in the Seleção, especially by playing in a club on the lower card at Man City. That hurts. That really hurts inside Roma. Was there really any need to just have a little dig at Liverpool not being ahead of Man City? In European stakes we are. Think about that. Look, I mean, that sounded very convincing at the time, but Dave Maddox has just basically gone and destroyed it, which led to this wonderful follow-up tweet. Maddox versus James Pearce. You know, the Spider-Man memes is a tried and tested one on the internet. But Dave Maddox going full James Pearce to rubbish that one. He's got another one now. Talks about Fekir, the transfer rumour that will not die. We did a massive load of discussion on this on that transfer rated show yesterday, because there's just literally no other credible links to players who play in the position that we seem to have targeted with him. Fekir met with Leon President at the World Cup, pleaded for a chance to still join LFC. All has agreed to revive talks. Liverpool have got no interest in the deal on the previously agreed £53 million terms. They may be persuaded by restructuring terms. Leon are lining up Ziyech as a potential replacement. Interesting stuff, and obviously again, it feels like there's more going on there. We know that, of course, France are going to the World Cup final, and that will have an impact on when he will be available for negotiations or what have you. They're simply not going to pull a guy out of training for a World Cup final to discuss a transfer move. So we're probably talking a couple of weeks before we know any more on this one. But there you go. Following up from that, another man who's going to be in a World Cup final. Let's listen to what Dejan Lovren had to say.
From my point of view, I had like people saying I had a difficult season, but I don't agree with that. I showed that I took Liverpool to the final of the Champions League, and now with my national team, we are in the final, and I think people should recognize that I'm also one of the best defenders in the world.
Love him. Love you, Dejan. Absolutely love you. You've caused me many problems and bits of stress over the years. But you know what? Get on the balls on Dejan Lovren. And I love the fact that there's people who are losing their heads over it. You've got fans of other clubs going, he's rubbish. He's not rubbish. He's genuinely not. Let's just say, I won't name names, but let's say an Arsenal fan who likes to tuck his ears into his hat and fight with people on the pitch in charity games or relaxing friendly games, thinks that Laurent Koscielny's better than him. Have a little think about that. No, look, all the credit to Dejan Lovren. You can't escape the mistakes that he's had in his career, and he has done. But I think at this point, I think the absolutely brilliant, I don't just mean just good matches, the absolutely brilliant, outstanding performances he's had for Liverpool far outweigh the ones where you've got terrible performance at Wembley against Spurs this season, but I think he's been absolutely impeccable since then. And look, has he taken Liverpool to the Champions League final? No. You know, I think you could probably say, if Mo Salah come and said, I've taken Liverpool, you'd be like, good on you, Mo. You have, thanks. You know, Bobby Firmino, Jordan Henderson as captain, Jurgen Klopp as manager. No one would say Dejan Lovren was integral, and yet look at the players that he's handled this season. And again, Harry Kane has been his kryptonite, and he basically, I mean, where the fuck was Harry Kane? Anyone who watched the game last night? Answers on a postcard. He's probably, if that camera panned down a little bit, you might see Harry Kane, the tip of Harry Kane's fat tongue sticking out of Dejan Lovren's back pocket, but that's about it. Look, I'm not getting down on England. I think England have been really good this summer, and just a little note on that. I'm not going to sit here and try and take the piss out of England, because if people were dead happy and people enjoyed it and people enjoyed the ride, that's what football's about. If you got enjoyment out and felt passionate about supporting a football club, more power to you. That's what football's all about. But look, you know, I'd have much preferred England to be in the World Cup final than Croatia, because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see your country be involved in that kind of stuff, whether you've got any great attachment to them or not. And let's be honest, you know, I'd have been a couple hundred miles from a World Cup parade if they'd won it. I'd have been able to see a World Cup with my own eyes, which would have been a great thing. You think about how much 1966 has been deified. If you had a time machine, it'd be cool to go back and see that. We were nearly presented with that opportunity in the modern day, which just from a pure experience point would have been good. But anyway, who's asked? Dejan Lovren, bring it home, son. Bring it home, Degsy. Right, we're going to get to your comments. Before we do, I've got Tom lining a few up. Just one more shout. Get over to the redmentv.com. Do it now. Sign up if you need more stuff. We've got all the transfer stuff covered, and we've got footy covered as well, believe it or not. Obviously, if you want to talk more in depth and detail about things that are going on, Chris and I did a final word show on Tranmere Liverpool, stood outside the ground, going through some of the key incidents from that. As the season progresses, it gets more and more in depth and detailed. Just brilliant. Brilliant podcast content and video content as well. So if you want to listen to Redmen on the go, you can do. You can get your subscription feed into your podcast app, and you can listen to it on the go. If you're not into the whole sitting down and watching things on your telly, every angle of Liverpool Football Club covered by us. Let's do comments then.
So we've got a couple super chats to start with. Ethsham Ul Hussan with a fiver, thank you. He says, do you think that the Karius situation could be a detriment to Klopp's tenure as manager?
It has the potential to be. I think you can see that. It's another thing as well. We've discovered we probably did a good solid 10 minutes on this, on that transfer roundup rated show. So again, get involved on that if you really want to get into it. But top line, my thoughts are on it. This is the biggest decision Klopp's going to have to make of his Liverpool tenure so far in terms of transfers, because there's a very toxic atmosphere around Karius, and it's going to be very hard. I feel almost impossible to rehabilitate him in the spotlight of playing football matches. But then if you take him out of the spotlight, and at some point, if provided you've got him on the books, and you want it as one of your two choices for goalkeeper, say, he's probably going to have to come in the team at some point, and he's always going to be under that scrutiny. Do you leave that scrutiny for 2 or 3 months, or a couple of months until the League Cup or whatever? Or do you let him play it out? At the minute, I'd be giving Danny Ward a go myself, but I don't know whether there's an appetite from that within the club, and if there's no appetite, there has to be reasoning behind that, and it must just be that they think Karius is the better option until they find someone else who's a better option to buy. But it is a big test for the manager.
Supraj Kalori gives us $1, thank you. And then Craig Tebbs with £2. I like that name, Craig Tebbs.
Tebbs.
But anyway, surely Pickford better choice, young and good feet. That's his question.
I'm not sure.
To Alisson.
Liverpool are not buying Jordan Pickford. Don't even worry about it. There is no world in which Everton sell Jordan Pickford to Liverpool. I don't think there's a world in which Jordan Pickford is interested in joining Liverpool from Everton. Let them have him, to be perfectly honest. Everton needs some joy in their lives. Toffee TV are having a good time with them. They're selling some really nice Jordan t-shirts, and that's keeping their heads above water, so good on them. No, I think Pickford's a good goalkeeper. I don't think Liverpool should buy an English goalkeeper, if I'm perfectly honest, because Jordan Pickford was one dropped ball away from being the absolute pariah of the entire country last night, and who needs that stress? Who needs it? Not me personally, and let's be honest, not Liverpool, because, yeah, it is what it is. 2 more, please, Tom.
A lot of comments on the kit, but Thomas Dumanois, I guess, says, looks nice. Rather, that was the second kit, though.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because I think... Yeah. Liverpool will wear it. There'll be times when Liverpool wear it and the times when they will. If it's a third kit, I imagine it's probably the European away kit. So we'll probably see that in the Champions League. I am a massive fan of grey kits. And it's also worth noting that whenever Liverpool have got a grey away kit, they have a boss season. So long may that tradition continue. Ooh, super chat. Google, go ahead. Google, you say, just give us $5, thanks.
Nice one.
One more comment.
And Jonathan Hutchinson says, hopefully Lovren takes this confidence and improves going into this season.
Well, that's it. People can say it's a partnership with Van Dijk, but again, he's been good since before Van Dijk came in. Van Dijk's really good. Dejan Lovren, I mean, you don't want him getting overconfident, but if he's found his groove as a player, and he might well have done, he's now at the age where he should be at the peak of his powers, and he's entering his prime years as a defender. So maybe it is just the point where he's just gotten good. Every defender makes mistakes, by the way. Virgil van Dijk was at fault for the first Man City goal away in the Champions League. So no one is perfect in defensive positions, because ultimately if you make one misstep, it often leads to a goal, and doubly so for goalkeepers as well, which is another reason why I see no sense in absolutely lambasting Karius. Whether you think he's genuinely good enough or not is kind of that's for you to have the thoughts. But it is tough. So yeah, it is what it is. Just one here from Cop Out Legend. Paul, can you bring the final word show for this season to YouTube? No, we cannot. We do the post-match stuff. We do the stuff that's suited to YouTube. We do a few longer bits, but ultimately, the real in-depth analysis. People might say they've got a hunger for it on YouTube, and we'll do a few bits and pieces like that. But the website is where we get to really get into the nuts and bolts and stuff. So if you want that, and that's the stats and tactics, that's where we really pick apart how Liverpool works and how we feel as fans and how the games and all that have gone. the only way we can really make that work, and ultimately the only way we can make all of this work, is to put that on the website, and then obviously people subscribe, and then it allows us to do the free stuff. So again, if you're just watching the free stuff on YouTube, you should be thanking the people who subscribe on the website, because they make all of this possible. And if you are one of those people, I love you. I love you very much, and if you enjoy your subscription, let people know in the comments below. Sorry, Supraj Kalori, before we go, who should partner VVD, Lovren or Matip? It's Lovren all day long. Joel Matip at the minute needs to massively prove himself and get a bit of fire in his belly. Other than that, thank you very much for watching this show today. Thanks for commenting. Leave comments coming underneath. Give a thumb up to this video if you think Dejan Lovren can bring home the World Cup. And of course, go and check out the redmentv.com. Start your free month trial and see what I keep banging on about for yourselves.